In this lesson, I want to show you more information how we can make this more interactive using Vue, and we can create an input to tie over to this my output, and we can update it, and we'll see that it actually gets updated directly as we're updating the scope, that variable information. So we're just going to create just a typical text field, input text field, and we're going to use a Vue directive, so the V model. And what this is going to do is this is going to tie it to this value. So for the my output value, it's going to tie them together and bind those values together. So now my output is going to be bound to this input box, and we're going to be able to see that updating as we're typing through into that input box. And there's another really cool thing with Vue is that we can actually output information. So we can output that data as an object. We get access to that data object directly, and we're going to apply a filter to it. And of course, we're going to look into filters later on in more detail. So this is essentially, this is going to output the data object in JSON format. So let's take a look at this and refresh it. So now we don't necessarily need to use the dev tools. We can get that output of the current content. We've got my output, pass, false, count. And we see that now as we're updating this is updating as well within that object here, within the Vue instance. So my output object is updating to whatever we've got contained within this input field. And we've got both of them being output here. So we've got hello, and then down here the hello, or it's not really hello. So we see that it's being output, and it's tied directly all together in sync via Vue, and it's syncing into the DOM. So whatever we're inputting here, because we bound it via using Vue, we've bound it together with the my output object. So this will change as we change this, and as well anything that's bound to it as well is going to update as we're updating that content. So this is a really neat thing about Vue, and it's literally very easy to do. It just makes sense. All we had to do is add in that one directive to bind that variable output together with that data, my output, and all we have to do is just quote around it and indicate the data name there. So this is all tied together within that data object, and Vue is actually smart enough to know that when we're using the V model, we're tying it to the data object, and so it's going to pull that through and tie and bind everything together. And then over here, we're just outputting that data object, and we're applying that filter so that we can preview and look at the data that's being contained within that object. So the next lesson, we're going to look deeper into binding to variables and so on. So the relationship between Vue and the DOM, and how everything works together and syncs together. So that's coming up in the next set of lessons.